I think he has it right. Hello, Patriots. Welcome into today's Friday show. Boy, Robert Imbriali here, and we're spending a lot of this morning, all of a sudden, seeing a lot of video coming out of Asheville, North Carolina, that area there, the mountainous area, a lot of other towns as well, but sort of that's the center of where it is. We've been hearing very little. We know that it was a disaster area. We know we've been hearing little bits and pieces, a couple of videos here and there. But because of the level of devastation, right? Because of the level of destruction that has happened there, there was no power. If there's no power, if you look at a power pole, the electrical lines travel on the top, and the lines that are much lower, that's telephone, that's your cable, that's your fiber optic connection, that's your internet connection, right? They keep them apart so they don't interfere. So if you look at it from that perspective, if those telephone poles are wiped out, which they were in many places, there is no internet. And then you say, well, we have cellular. We get so, I got to tell you this, we get so attached to the cell phone because it's always connected, right? Well, not in the area I live in. I drive 20 minutes drive in, 20-minute drive out, no cell connection, right? It's completely barren. There's nothing. So I'm used to it. But a lot of people aren't who live in the city and live in these municipalities. They're always used to having cell phone. And like I mentioned yesterday, here when the power went out in San Diego wide, the entire county went out a few years back. The cell phone towers, after about 4 hours, started to go down. And you had no more cell phone connection. No landline internet, right? Because all the routers and everything that supplies that was gone. Phone service eventually went down. It's not like the old days where you can use an analog phone, digital phone, doesn't work anymore. So you can think about these people in North Carolina who had their infrastructure completely wiped out, their roads completely wiped out. And, today probably there's enough Starlink satellite dishes set up where some of them, not all, some of them have access to internet again. And what's happening is that we're starting to see a lot of video. It was flooded this morning with these videos. They were coming out one after another after another. And it was like, we thought it was bad, but we didn't know how bad until we start to see that this morning. So I don't know about you. I don't know if you've been paying attention to it, but a lot of people have been saying this, and I think it's absolutely true. This is weather manipulation. This was not a normal event. They've never had that kind of rain before. From what we understand, there was 10 inches of rain prior to the hurricane actually coming in. And when the hurricane came in, they had between 20 and get this, 20 and 40 inches of rain. And a lot of these are at the bottom of the mountains. What happens in this area, same thing. We got mountains, and then we're at the bottom, and all the water runs off the mountains and piles up at the bottom, and you get the roads washed out. It happens here several times a year. Not dramatic. I mean, within 3-4 days, the roads are open again, and we're able to get in and out. But there, the roads aren't there, and we've seen a lot of videos of it, and we're seeing a lot of reports that the citizens are stepping up. And, they're bringing their helicopters, and they're bringing their ATVs and their four-wheel drives and chainsaws and whatever else they need to get in and out of there. And they're being met with resistance from FEMA. So we're going to get into that a little bit. That's just a little bit crazy to see everything that's going on, but that's give you an overview of what we're doing. And I have an update, too, from our Unity tour in Florida. They continue today to work, although there's a big show tomorrow. They're not working on the show. They're not focused there. They are focused on helping the people. I think that is the more important piece at this point. The show may not be as organized as they normally are, but, we can live with it. It's not the end of the world. We're still going to get great information and be able to speak with listen to some great speakers as well. So it's just a crazy time that we're living in. I was looking at this and saying, maybe I shouldn't do the show today. Maybe I should just skip it. Maybe, it might be better just to focus on tomorrow. But I think the messages are too important right now. We are now, as of today, 31 days away from the election. 31 days out. If you think things aren't going to get heated, it's now or never, right? Yeah, they're going to get heated. One of the crazy stories Nick Sorter, one of the reporters, independent reporter, I follow on X, and he's gone in with a friend of his, and they were buying Starlink services, satellite setups on their own dime right after this happened, and they were driving in, setting them up. They set up the fire department. Seriously? Yeah, that's how corrupt things are, but it gets much worse. You heard that guy right at the beginning, right at the onset, and you heard President Trump's response when he was asked whether or not he cares whether or not voters are going to be able to vote in that area. He said, I don't care about voters. I care about saving lives. That's the right answer, by the way. It's the right answer. No one's paying attention to the election. I'm not really paying that much attention to it, although all these things are interconnected, are related. And you guys know this. I'm telling you this. Lewis and I talk about this all the time. You know these things are related. You know they don't want Trump back in power. That's it. They will do anything, including burning this country down to the ground. And you know they're the only ones that are living. They'll be very happy. They won't have anything. They won't have anybody to do any of the work, but they'd be happy, or so they think. So we've got to pay attention. There's a lot going on. There's a lot behind the scenes or below the surface, as I like to say, that we don't know. So, you know, just keep your head up. Just keep watching. Follow us at Renegade Media on Telegram, because I'm posting a lot of stuff there. And I also want you to thank our sponsor, Matt Geiger, because he's helped out tremendously in keeping this show on the air and keeping the Unity Tour going. So if you're at all in the market for investing in gold and silver, which is a good idea, or converting your IRA or your 401k over to a gold and silver backed account, you can reach him 480-717-9081 or his website veritymetals.com. And we can't thank Matt enough for all the work that he's been doing. He's actually showed up to a couple of the Unity Tour stops on his own dime, obviously, and then he's helped out financially to keep the convoy rolling, as we like to say. And he's done a lot for us. So if you can support him, that would be fantastic. All right. The Tampa finale is tomorrow. For those of you who are still considering going, there's still some tickets available. There's no charge for the tickets, but there is a charge for the after party, which may be just as much fun as the main event. I don't know if you could stay out that long, right? You've got a big long day and then an after party afterwards. I think there's a little break in between, but yeah, you know, if you want to attend that, that's going to be a lot of fun as well. I'll talk more about that a little bit. I want to talk right now about keeping you informed. And one of the important things, I know, you think this is easy to do a live stream. Well, you know what? I'm dependent on 4 different internet connections to make this live stream happen. If one goes down, I can kind of still do it. If 2 goes down, probably not. If all 4 go down, and obviously you won't hear from us. And one of the challenges we're facing with now is record-breaking censorship everywhere. How do I know? Because I know there are people who have written to me and said, hey, I can't post anything on Facebook without it getting deleted immediately, or the post won't even go through. Right? So they've ramped up the censorship in high gear. I hardly touch Facebook. I mean, I go in, check for a little bit, go out. My friend Edward here, who's watching today, and hope you're feeling better, Edward. He wrote me a message on Messenger. I got a notification for it, but that's about it. I don't really spend any time there. No fun to be in a censored place. I spend a lot of time on X, as you guys know, and also on Telegram. And obviously, we do the show here on Rumble. But I want you to sign up for the newsletter on screwbiggov.com. Go there, screwbiggov.com. Make sure you're on the newsletter. As things get tougher, email may end up being the only way we can keep in touch. And keep in touch means, hey, we've got a video up. We're going to be on this channel instead. I have a new system that I just bought that is going to allow us to put videos directly onto the internet without having to actually go through Rumble. It's a different hosting program. So if something goes down, we've got a backup in place. And we'll be able to let you all know about it there. ScrewBigGov.com. Also, the Unity Tour info is there. If you click on the Unity Tour button at the top, and there's a donate button for those of you who'd like to donate. The link is right here down below. It says done to Hurricane Helene victims. Why didn't I catch that typo before? Donate to is what it should have said. Hurricane Helene victims. GiveSendGo.com/SBG3. See what happens when you're a one-man show? You can also follow me. Let's see here. It's not switching. All right. There we go. You can follow me at renegademedia.tv. or at Renegade Media on Telegram. Those are two places you'll find me. And you can email me, robert@renegademedia.tv, if you've got anything you want to share. I know a lot of people do, and I do appreciate that because, boy, I'm trying to keep up with it all right now, and it is like running. It is like literally running a marathon. I mean, yesterday we were talking about the port strike, and before the show was over, guess what happened? Yep, they postponed it. They're all back at work today, and it's postponed until, I think, January 15th of 2025. So they pushed it ahead until then. It's not over. You know, if they can't come to an agreement, there'll be a strike, but it'll be in January. So at least it's not now, and we could still get goods to the people in need suffering from the hurricane. There are other storms brewing. We're going to keep an eye on them because we've seen weather manipulation in Helene. And there's another storm coming up in the same direction. It doesn't look like it'll form into a hurricane, but that is when it just started to form. Helene started to form. That is when the initial weather manipulation apparently began. So just to let you know, it's something to pay attention to. No, don't get upset yet, but something to pay attention to. Things are moving in that direction. So let's see what else I have here. I got a lot for you today. I wonder why this is not working the way it needs to. I'm going to turn it off and turn it back on again. Hang on, just bear with me for 1 minute here. Yeah, sometimes things freeze on me. I don't know why. All right. There's a text I want to share with you. There's a couple, actually, that I want to share with you today. This is Elon Musk's chief engineer. They sent him into North Carolina, into Asheville area, to what? Distribute and set up Starlink satellite receivers, right? And, Elon, like I said, is not charging anybody. There's no fee. They're not charging anything. You can access it free, at least for the next 30 days. And he wants to really help out as much as possible. And if needed, I guarantee he'll go a little bit further. So his chief engineer sends him a text this morning. Look at this text. He says it's true. They are about to shut down all airspace to regulate the private choppers we are riding in to deliver Starlink and supplies. We are pushing back with Trump team as well as to help us, but not looking good. We need help to get word out about FEMA. We spoke with Ivanka and handed out Starlinks with her yesterday, but FEMA showed up and started blocking us. You getting the picture here? The largest concern for us here is the FAA throttling flights for our choppers, where they're requiring to-from information and mission now to deliver a discrete code. Doing this takes a long time, and it's very cumbersome to the ops. This is the largest concern, and most help we could have is appreciated. So what they're looking at there is FEMA getting in the way, FAA getting in the way, local authorities getting in the way of the humanitarian aid. FEMA's not doing anything. They're there on site. They've filled up the hotel with federal agents. They're doing nothing. Day 6, nothing's happening. They're coming in and they're asserting their quote-unquote authority, and they're shutting people down. That's what's really going on. And it's really sad to see. Let's see here. There's another post. This is another one that I found, which is kind of interesting. We'll read this one. So I can't post this myself, but maybe you can get the word out. We've been in Greenville, South Carolina, with 12 medevac helicopters under FEMA. We're just sitting here doing nothing. FEMA won't send us in to help with medical or even supply delivery. We've been here since Sunday. Guys, it's Friday today. We're all frustrated at not being allowed to help because of the red tape. We could carry a 500-pound payload of supplies for those in need. Nope, just sitting here. We asked to go to nursing homes in affected area that are cut off to provide primary care. Nope, won't let us do shit. I don't know about you, but this is extremely frustrating, right? When you have a federal government that is supposed to be helping, and now they claim they have no money, and they're saying this morning, no, they didn't give it all to the illegals. No. And then there was a reporter who fact-checked them on their own website, on the FEMA website. That was the source. And she goes, yeah, you kind of did. It's on your website. I'm sure they're going to wipe that and clean that out. But we've already got screenshots of it floating all over the internet. So not only are they not helping, but they're lying about not helping. Frustrating. Very, very frustrating. So there's a video here from a trucker who claims that 51 trucks had their tires slashed. They were bringing in supplies to the area. Listen to this.
Hey guys, off-grid Dom here. I was just notified. I'm a truck driver, in case anybody wasn't aware. So I got connections with the ports and the railroads and other drivers. 51 truck drivers. 51 trucks who were delivering goods. They were on their way to deliver supplies down to the devastated areas of Hurricane Helene. Well, they pulled into a truck stop to get fuel. Every single one of their trucks, all their tires were slashed. Every one of them. Yet, all the other drivers that had nothing to do with what they were doing, they were okay. I'm sorry, if you don't see a problem with that, does anybody else find that highly questionable?
Highly questionable is not the word I would use, but okay. We're just looking at this and saying, what is going on here? There's a bigger play. We're kind of seeing, like I said, we're seeing the surface stuff, but what's the bigger play? What's the bigger message here? Why don't they want help in that area? Is it just really a land grab? Is that really what it's about? Higher? There's those guys on the ground are saying it's 1,200 or more. The entire town was wiped out, guys. The entire town. People washed away. Didn't have a chance. The water comes so hard and so fast and is full of so much debris. It's impossible in many cases to survive it. And people will say, well, why didn't they just go to higher ground? They were on the roofs of the homes, the barns. The water came and swept those away. And when those hit other obstacles, you saw the videos. They all collapse. A house is not made to be a boat. It's not made to stay together, right? So when it hits another obstacle and the water's really pushing it, water's very heavy, very dense, right? It can carry a lot of weight. And a lot of these people drowned, just the same way they would in a tidal wave. I mean, a tsunami, right? You look at that and you say, why do so many people drown? It looks like the tsunami comes in slowly. It does. But it's carrying so much debris that people literally get crushed against cars, against houses, against buildings. And it just keeps coming and coming and coming. And the force is so intense, right? So it wasn't survivable for a lot of people. Now people are saying you can't even go in there, is getting in the way. Stand up against this, well, literally tyranny. I don't know if there's another word for it. I mean, they're getting in the way of rescue operations, and you need a permit to save your fellow human being. They're being told, the residents up there are being told not to help out their neighbors who are in need. It's crazy. A lot of them are now. It takes a few, right? A couple to step up, and okay, now we see there's some pushback. A lot of them are now pushing back, and they're saying, no way, we're not listening to you. Get out of here. You don't belong here. This is our neighborhood. These are our people. And guys, this is, we've been talking about this for a long time. The whole idea behind the Unity Project was about, or is about, I should say, it isn't over, is about coming together and banding together as a neighborhood. So when Lewis gets his app out, we'll be able to do that. We'll have a tool. There's other tools out there now, and they're called running shoes. You go neighbor to neighbor, and you just introduce yourself, phone number. If ever a situation occurs, like we're seeing in North Carolina, we want to know that we can count on each other. That's it. That's all you need to do. And you start building those bridges, because there's going to come a time when there's going to be an invasion in your neighborhood. It might be the government. It might be the illegals. We don't know. It might be gangs. Who knows? But if we don't come together, guys, we've got the power, though. There's nothing to be fearful about here. So long as we do our part and we get organized a little bit, because we're not right now. We're all kind of siloed. How many people know their neighbors? Well, you wave to them, but you may not. Actually, I don't have any neighbors I can wave to. They're nowhere in sight because it's so far away. But, I know the neighbors that are local to me. I don't know the ones further, but I know some of them. But, that's the opportunity here, is to get to know them, introduce yourself, and hey, maybe you strike up a conversation and have a new friend. You know what I mean? Keep the politics out of it if that's the challenge. Just keep that out of it. And know that if something dramatic happens, they never expected it in Nashville. Nobody did. Never had that much rain there. Place has been there forever. Weather manipulation, all things are possible. All things like that are possible. So we've got to pay attention. Here we're in the wildfire zone, so who knows, what could happen right off of Camp Pendleton. Who knows if that gets attacked? You know what I mean? There's just so many variables that no matter where you are, you've got something that could happen. Not saying it will, but you want to be prepared in case it does. So these citizens now are starting to come together. They're starting to band together, and they're starting to work with the volunteers that have come in from all over the country, flying in their own personal helicopters, paying their own gasoline, right? Helicopters need maintenance every, couple hours, whatever it is that they run, 1,000, 1,500 hours, expensive maintenance, like rebuilding the motor kind of expense. These things are really, really important to do to keep that thing in the air. It's not like, you know what, I didn't get the oil change on the car for a couple of thousand miles. You got a bigger problem, right? So those things are maintained a lot more precisely, and it's real expensive. Aviation fuel, real expensive. I mean, you think $5 a gallon is bad. Aviation fuel is probably closer to $10 a gallon. The octane is like 115, 120, much higher, because it's got to be burned at altitude, right? So you look at all that and you say, these guys they're putting their own money on the line. One of the helicopter pilots said he had to fill up 4 times yesterday. Can't imagine how much each one of those fill-ups is. But they're doing the work, right? They're getting it done. They're not asking for anything. There's a lot of people coming in helping, which is fantastic. And, if the citizens start to push back, like we just heard at this medical tent, that's what's required. So what happened with a lot of the Starlink stuff, the engineers said FEMA came, confiscated it all, and now claim it is theirs, that they're taking ownership of it. They locked it away. They're not distributing it. They locked it away. I mean, talk about obstruction. There's obstruction where, okay, maybe you want us to have a permit, or maybe you want some training, whatever, but grabbing the donations, they did this in Maui, guys. If you remember, we reported on it. They did it in Maui. The donations were coming in, they blocked them, and when they came in, they grabbed them, and they put them in sea containers and locked them up and did not distribute them to the people in need. We see the same thing happening here. So now people are bringing donations and they're scooting around. Where's the FEMA guy? We're going to get around it. We're going to, it's very inconvenient that they're there, but that's what's happening. So there's a story, and I did not capture the name of the sheriff, but I want to. The sheriff is saying quite simply that if FEMA gets in the way of any of this, any FEMA agent that does will be arrested. You think that should happen? What do you think? Apparently they arrested the fire chief who said they would arrest the helicopter pilots if they went back in there. Apparently he got arrested today, threatening to arrest the pilots that were going in on their own dime to help out. So apparently he's arrested too. So now the sheriffs are saying, okay, FEMA, you want to get in the way? You get in the way, you obstruct anything that we're doing to take care of our people, we're going to arrest you. The sweet sound of pushing back. Well, haven't we all been waiting for this? Isn't this where we've been? Waiting to see the pushback? It takes a couple of brave souls to start it. I get it. Maybe we've got that now. Maybe now the tide will turn. Maybe we'll have better news. I mean, of course, it's always going to be sad, the lives that were lost. And the houses that were wiped away and all the rest of that, sure. But maybe more people start pushing back. Maybe we come together as a group, right? I've been saying this for a while, and those who know me, talking about Maricopa County, going to the Board of Supervisor meetings and stuff, they're not listening. And it's not until enough of us lock arms and say no more, we don't let them into the buildings, we don't let them out of the building, whatever it is, that this will stop. When the pushback is big enough, they'll back off. They're cowards, essentially. This judge yesterday who sentenced Tina Peters, there was more information on what he was saying to her and how nasty he was. I mean, he should be brought up on charges for being so nasty to this woman. She's never been in trouble before, by the way. Never. Not even a speeding ticket, apparently. And now she's sentenced to 9 years in prison from this loser judge. So there's going to come a time. And, how do I keep my attitude up and all of this? Because it's easy to get depressed. I get it, guys. Yeah, I see that, it's easy to get depressed. This is heavy stuff, I know. But I keep looking forward to that day when the pendulum starts going the other direction, and it always does. The pendulum does not continue in one direction only. It goes in one direction for a while, it reaches a pinnacle, and it turns around, and what does it do? It comes back again. That pendulum's swinging, and it's going to start coming back in our direction, which means a lot of these people who are doing all this bad stuff right now, they think they're invincible. It's going to come back to haunt them. I'm looking forward to that day. I focus on that all the time, every day. That's what my focus is, on that. When is it going to happen? I don't know when it's going to happen. I wish it was yesterday. But we're moving there. We're getting closer to that. I don't know if it's going to be November 5th. I don't know if that's going to be the thing that's going to turn it in the other direction. I don't know. I'm still of the belief that, if there is an election, I still don't know that there will be. If there is an election, it won't be clear. It won't be, one and done. We're not going to wake up on November 6th and know who the winner is. They're not going to allow that to happen. They're going to do everything they can. Oh, it's going to take us 2 weeks to count 50 more ballots. That kind of game that they played in 2020, again in 2022. I think we're going to see that again. So it may not be very clear. It may not be clear for weeks. There may be lawsuits. There may be court cases. There may be whatever. Do you remember how long it took when the Bush-Gore election? I don't think Bush was declared the winner until January. Remember, it was a long time battling, and finally they just gave up and said, okay, you have it, We don't know. Did he really win that election? Who knows, right? It's a long time ago. Those hanging chads are probably still hanging from what I can hear, what I understand, and who knows? Who's counting that? So I don't know when the pendulum's going to swing in the other direction, but I know it will. It always does. It has to, right? As Tony Robbins always says, spring always follows winter. And we're in the dead of winter right now, no question. We're in the hardest part of this whole thing. But I think we're going to get to that point where spring's going to happen. The snow is going to recede. And all of a sudden, right in Canada, I always remember this, the tulips are the first thing to pop right next to the house. Snow recedes from the house because the house is warm. It's bouncing sunshine on it. The snow recedes a little bit. The first thing to come up are the tulips. And then spring is here. We're close. We're very close to that. I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to happen. I think it's going to be a lot of fun when it does. All right, I'm babbling a little bit more than I want to. Tomorrow we have for you the big event. thescrewbiggov.com/Tampa is where you want to go to find out more about the Unity Tour Grand Finale. Dun, dun, dun. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it. I'll be up early, 10 a.m. 10 a.m. is 7 a.m. my time. That's good. I'll get up at 5, make sure I'm plenty awake to kick it off because I know they'll want me to do that. And I'll be hosting the live stream. And it'll be a lot of fun. And all the speakers will be there in person. I don't know that we'll have anybody via Zoom, but we're still working that out and trying to get the schedule nailed down because there's just so much going on because the Unity Tour team is still in Florida taking care of things. And then after that, there's the after party with Silverback, the group, and classic rock and roll band from 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. And it's $33 to attend. And it includes, get this, $50 of autographed SBG swag. So if you want Lewis's signature on your t-shirt, that is where you want to be. And he will do that for you. Lots of fun. Looking forward to it. It's going to kick off, like I said, 7 a.m. my time, which is 10 a.m. East Coast time tomorrow. If they're a little late, these kind of things, always run into last minute tech issues. So we're going to try not to have that happen. So we'll be on earlier, connecting all the devices and cameras and microphones and testing everything out to make sure it works. I believe some of them are on site today getting things set up. So we will see. I'm looking forward to that. All right. What's the Unity Tour team been up to? Hey, I fixed the typo. Donate. Hurricane Helene victims. GiveSendGo.com/SBG3 and just put in the subject, put in hurricane relief, and they'll know where the money goes. So they've been receiving a lot of donations, and I'm going to speak for Lewis here, although I really shouldn't, but I know he would say this anyway. He's touched very big in the heart because of all the donations that have come in. It's very touching. It's very heartwarming, if you will, to see everyone stepping up and helping out. It's Florida. It's not North Carolina. We get it. There are people in Florida who have lost everything too. The hurricane was quite the monster when it came ashore. So it did a lot of damage. And so they've got a U-Haul truck and they're going around to the stores and picking up pallets full of bottled water, and they've been handing that out. And let me play a couple of videos for you real quick here. And this is what they sent me this morning. Does that coordination get any better? Oh, I love that. Pass it from one to the next to the next. Nobody has to do any walking. You just pass it along, pass it along. Brilliant. I love to see that teamwork in action. They are united, and they are very much passionate about helping as many people as they possibly can. So donations are really appreciated. From the bottom of our hearts, we thank you for stepping up. I know people think, oh, I'm only donating 25 or 50 or 75 or whatever it is. It means a lot. $75 buys a lot of bottled water, right? It buys a lot of paper towels or toilet paper and whatever else that people might be needing. So it does help. Every little bit of it helps. And all of it's going to this. It's not going to the Unity Tour. It's not going to help out anything more. It is strictly going right now to help out those people in the Tampa area. I think Largo and there's another town, I forget the name of it, in that area that they're doing it. So thank you for that. Much appreciated. Lewis gets involved. He likes to put his hands on things. Here's him this morning demoing a kitchen.
Ate.
Just getting hands-on, that's what you got to do with these kind of things. So good to see him doing that. It's really exciting to know that we're making a little bit of a difference out there. We are, making a dent in this challenging time that we're all going through. And I have a feeling there's going to be more. I don't think this is the end of it. I think there's going to be more. The deep state is fighting for their lives, literally. So this is where things get a little wonky. But it's not going to last very long. I think it'll be very short-lived, whatever it is. And we're just praying for the best. And all of you are so gracious to be part of this community. We appreciate every one of you for watching the live streams and giving your likes and sharing and all the comments in the chat room. We do appreciate that. It makes a big difference. So thank you all for that. I'm going to end the show a little early today. I could go on, but I want to let you know that, we've got this. I mean, it's going to be rough. We got it. We've got to have each other's backs. And if we do that, we'll get through this and we'll be in good shape. And I know all of you believe that because you wouldn't be here if you weren't. I mean, that's what this is about, right? We're all united. And as I say, I don't look at myself as I'm the leader. And I don't really care about any of that. It's just like, we're all in this together. I'm on the same level you guys are on. And I'm behind the microphone, behind the camera. So what, right? That's the only difference. The truth is we're all in this game together, and I'm impacted emotionally in the same way all of you are. It's not easy to look at everything that's going on in North Carolina as an example, or Florida, or Georgia, or I think a little bit of Virginia as well. Is it Virginia? I forget. Offhand, I don't remember. It's not easy to look at it. Not easy to look at the destruction. Not easy to look at the fact that, hey, our government is really getting in the way here. They gave all the money, $1 billion plus, to the illegals. And now they don't have any for the Americans. So, and then not only that, they're obstructing when we're trying to help ourselves. So it doesn't make me happy. I feel the emotion, the emotional spikes too. I try to remain calm. I try to breathe through it. I went for a walk and just to get it out. I don't want to bring that here because, you don't need that. That's not what helps us. What helps us is for many of us to remain as level-headed as possible. And I see it sometimes in the chat room. Some people are not remaining level-headed. It's okay. Let the steam off, but don't stay there. Don't stay depressed. You can be depressed for a little while. That's great, but don't stay there, right? You can be angry for a little while. Don't stay there. Always come back to your center, whatever your center is, whatever your natural, normal state is, that's where you want to be most of the time. And if you could raise that a little bit and be a little happier, put on some music, have something yummy to eat, then do that. we've got a lot to look forward to. I think we're moving in a very good direction. Like I said, I think, we're not seeing it the way we'd like to see it yet, that we are winning, but it certainly feels that way. If it weren't that way, there wouldn't be so much desperation on the other side to cause so much damage. It's the way I see it. I could be wrong, but I don't think I am. What do you guys think? Love to hear your comments as well. All right, I think I've covered everything. Yes, I have. All right, guys, I'll be here, like I said, 7 a.m. tomorrow Pacific, 10 a.m. East Coast time, and we'll start the Unity Tour finale from Tampa, Florida, and I will be in San Diego. But we'll bring in that feed for you. We'll make it look good, and we'll put it out so everyone will have it. And I'll be here in case the feed drops or whatnot. If there's technical issues, I'll be behind the scenes taking care of it. So I'll be behind the computer all day tomorrow. And it'll be 100 degrees here. So good, because I'll be indoors. I won't have to worry about it. Love all of you. Thank you so much.